All right, so where I left off, I just listened to my previous recording and it's depressing. So again, I do not want to hear myself. So actually, I was selecting this. I want to change the color of it just because I feel like black might be a little too much, just to kind of make it a little bit less. So I'm just going to double click on this and it'll bring up the color picker here. I'm gonna go ahead and choose this one, and I'm gonna sample. You can't just click on it. You have to click and hold, and I'm gonna drag to where the darker color is here. But it's still going to need probably be a little bit darker than that, even though this is probably darker than that. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag this down and make it a little bit darker and hit OK. Then I'll hit escape to undo it. And you can see it's darker, but it's not too dark. So I think that's a little bit better. So now you can see that's actually wrapping around this, which I think works pretty well. So that looks pretty good. So let's next what I want to do is actually put some text here. To basically just kind of wrap things up a little bit. So this time I'm going to do, instead of using the text box, I'm actually just going to go right ahead and just use the, or not text box, the rectangle tool. I'm just going to use the text box here. So I'm just going to click and drag to where I want it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose my font ahead of time. And we're going to go right up to, it was Hobo. All right, and I'm going to change the size here to, say, 24. I'm not sure what I need yet. And we'll keep it black. That's fine. And I'm just going to write where our tagline is here. So, so it's, what is your baby wearing? Okay. So you probably see the issue here, and it's what it's supposed to be doing. Right now, if you look, it's actually text wrapping around this like it's supposed to be, but that's obviously an issue for us. I don't want this to text wrap. I actually want it to be in front of this guy. So one thing I'm going to do first, before I even do that, is that I did a boo-boo, and I didn't actually put the text on here. So if you look underneath each one of these, you can actually see the items that are inside of them, each element, right? So the rectangle was what we used to make the background. And then inside the graphic, we've been putting everything. So I have my graphics here, these three here, but then these two are both text, which we're not supposed to be part of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab both of them. I just click one, held shift, click the other one. So I have both selected. I'm just going to click and I'm just going to drag them into text. And I'm going to lock this one, make sure I lock the background. And now my text is in here. Now you can see the layers above it, but it's still text wrapping. Okay, so that's actually, like I said, what you want to have happen. But now what we're going to do is actually go ahead and fix that. Okay, so all right, so I want to go ahead and do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a specific thing. So I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to go down to Text Frame Options. Okay, because this is one of the objects. And down here, you can see ignore text wrap. I'm gonna go ahead and check that on, and boom! Now it's not. Now it's ignoring it. So I'm gonna grab that. I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger here. We'll try this. And also to make it stand out a little bit more, what I'm gonna do is actually make this white. So let's grab that, and I'm just gonna go ahead and we'll just click on this instead of double clicking and choosing a specific color. Just go ahead and choose paper, and that will help a little bit. You can see this image here is not, I got it locked, so hang on a second, I'll go back to my layers here. This one, let me see, the graphics. All right, I'm gonna unlock that. You can see it actually got cut off a little bit, which, oops, Command Z. All right, so the window got cut off a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's kind of weird. Maybe the graphic just looks like that. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in here. All right. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go ahead and just double click that, and I'm going to pull it, and I just want it to overlap a little bit, just to kind of give it a nicer look. So now that mustache looks like a W. And just to kind of help this again pull out even more, I'm just going to go ahead and put an effect on it. So I'm going to click on the effect here. I'm going to choose drop shadow. The window will pop up, and here are my drop shadow options. So you can see it's a little bit far from me, so I'm going to go ahead and, where is that? Distance. I'm going to take my distance down a whole bunch, and I'm going to take my spread. Take the opacity down a touch, and then we'll hit OK. And you can see there's a bunch of other ones in here as well that you can play around with. I would say generally try to avoid them just because they look kind of cheap and cheesy. In this case, it's actually going to help it kind of stick out. All right. So if you were to look now, we have our stuff. Okay, so it's not the greatest, but it's not too bad. So if I actually want to see this, what it looks like, you can see I got all these boxes and stuff, and they're kind of in the way. In order to kind of make that a little bit easier to see, I can actually choose a different view mode here. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose preview, and you can see all the boxes kind of go away. You can see a little bit better. Another thing I'm gonna do is that if you look at this, you can see what it does is that in order for things to work faster, it kind of it doesn't anti-alias anything, and it almost loads in a low res version. So in order to load in a higher res or to preview a higher res version, because this is actually just being referenced in, it's not doesn't actually exist inside of this. If you just right click over it and just go to display performance and just choose high quality, and then you'll see now the image is much better. And I can do that with all of my graphics. So you can see again, this is, oh, that's actually not too bad. It's okay. I think I did it for everything actually when I did it that way. If you want to do something specifically, you can select it and then choose display performance, and I could do fast display, which in this case again didn't do too much, but you may want to do that just so you can preview it a little bit better. Okay, and I think that is good. So that should be the basics of what you need. All right, so after reviewing my thing here, I decided I want to kind of change a couple things. Just to kind of cover it, I just wanted to show you what leading, kerning, and tracking is. So obviously you saw where you can do fonts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab this section here, and I'm just going to adjust some of those attributes. Okay, so right here is kerning. So if we do optical, it'll kern a little bit better as opposed to metric. If I just click in there, let me see something actually. Yeah, okay. I can actually adjust specific to specific letters. So you can see as I push this down, it's actually squeezing those together more. So if you notice that you have an area that you need to move the letters in or out, you can kind of adjust them. Okay. So that was kerning. So there's also tracking. Okay, so that's horizontal screen. This one's tracking. So what this does is it's going to allow you to it's going to do it as a whole. So it's just going to spread them out. In this case, actually, it's not going to be beneficial. It'll squeeze the letters closer to each other. Okay, so you can see what that kind of does. And then there's leading, which I got to use this for. And where are you? This one. Yeah, so right here, what this does is the space, it's kind of like, you choose double or single space. So if I go ahead and go in here, you can see it spaces it out that way more. Okay, so that might be beneficial. And one last thing you're going to need to do before you export this guy out is you're going to need to package it. Okay, so what packaging does is that right now, like I said, everything's being referenced in, so I need to take this and actually put it all into a nice little folder that it will make automatically, and then that way wherever you go, you just open up that folder and everything will work because all the assets are in there. That way, I'm sure you've opened up documents like something you wrote in Word and you had fancy fonts, and you go into another computer and it doesn't see the fonts. That could totally happen here as well. So if you're sending this off to a printer, if they don't have the fonts, then your thing won't print the way that you wanted it to. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just package it. It's really easy. So you just go File and Package. It's going to give you all this stuff. It's all great and dandy. I'm not worried about anything in particular. I'm going to hit Package. Okay, got to save it. I didn't save it yet, so let's just do like a version 3. All right, so right here what this is that it actually is going to send, this is for the printer, so you could put instructions in here of how you want them to print it, your contact information, so they will be able to get to you. You obviously don't care about this, so just hit continue. This is the options that it's going to do. So in this case, it's going to copy our fonts. It's going to copy the linked graphics, which are the pictures and stuff I brought in, and that stuff. So I'm going to package. It's also going to make a PDF, so you'll see. And it's just telling you that you have to have the rights to the fonts and images that you use, which obviously you know that. And it's going to take a second. And when it's done, if you go to your folder, let's go to Files. What you're going to see is that it makes this nice little folder, and it has the fonts that you used, the text there, or the fonts. It's going to have the images. It's going to make a copy of each one of those. It's going to have the instructions, which we didn't put anything in, and then it's also going to have your the InDesign files, and also a preview PDF, which is kind of nice, so someone could see what it looks like even before they go to print it. Okay, and that is